So learn quickly, they'll come for your role. Games get played, can't take it personal. Cause the devil is in my head. I'm telling you the truth, hey. It's only what you do, hey. Some things you gotta do, hey.
Hey, barbershop conversations, man. Feel free. Hit the subscribe button. Yo, hit the subscribe button. So just so you know, I'm dropping the song on my live tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can cash at me $1. What is it? $1.50. Cash at me $1.50, and I'll send you the song. Cash at me with your email address as the message, and I'll gladly send you the song. My Cash App is Silent Heroes, SILENTHEROS. And we don't forget we going live tonight. And feel free to join my Patreon. Barbershop Conversations on Patreon. Now we got the logistics out the way. You know, this one is one of the reasons why Barbershop Conversations is alive and well and thriving, and and another reason why people interview with me, YouTube shadow bans me, people do videos on me and hate, because I'm an investigative journalist. I come from a newspaper background. You understand what I'm saying? And um, I unveil the truth, and I want to talk about something, how America and boxing media and boxing fans and fighters are just beyond my own understanding. They fall for the okey doke every time, and we're going to talk about it right now. And y'all remember a few years ago when, was it 2 Augusts ago? Yeah, 2 Augusts ago, 2018 of August. I remember Eddie Hearn did a video with IFL, and he was like, "Show me the money," all that shit with Deontay Wilder, and he had the sunglasses on, and he was talking in an urban dialect, and he called Deontay Wilder the little boy from Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, and he just threw money at black fighters and said, "Here, take this $2 million. You're gonna go sign with me." And he was offended when they didn't. And Eddie Hearn's financials, allegedly, Eddie Hearn's financials proves to us he's running a Ponzi scheme, man. He's not who he say he is. You understand what I'm saying? If you go back to the thumbnail that I showed you, it shows. I'm just gonna briefly go over this really fast. I mean, it's self-explanatory, but the turnover means how much they paid. Yada. Gross profit is $6.5 million. Administrative expenses, they may have a secretary or two. People working at the fights. All that shit. They full-time employees. Operating profits is $5.3 million. Taxes $1 million, which leaves them a gross profit of $4.2 million, and it's split between 4 people. All right, and those 4 people are Eddie. Let me get the names to be exact. Let me go do this. Now, all of this is allegedly, right? All right, let me get their names. It's probably up at top. They didn't have to sign at the bottom. There's 4 of them. Oh, where are they? Okay, it's Barry Hearn, S. Dawson, E. Hearn, which is Eddie Hearn, and Frank Smith. And he was appointed January. Frank Smith just got on the team January of last year. And the reason being, you know what that means is they needed more financial stability. You don't bring no one on if you're doing really well. You know what I mean? And January 19th also states that they filed late. So and that's nothing wrong with filing late. I file my taxes late sometimes too if I'm in between investments and I don't want to use. I'll explain that on Patreon. So go to my Patreon and I'll explain how to defer your taxes if you have investments pending. All right, now, let's go back to the dividends. But why this is so important is because this man, now let's say hypothetical, it's 4 of them there and they cleared $4.2 million. That means they get roughly $1 million, a little bit over $1 million, right? Right. Now, This is important. This is key because Eddie Hearn came over here with his guns blazing and people believing him, people falling at his knees like he's Jesus Christ. You understand? Media falling at his knees. Oh my God, the great white savior is here. Eddie Hearn is here. Oh, he's better than Stephen Espinoza. He's better than Al Heyman. He's better than Lou DiBella. He's better than, and the list goes on and on and on and on. He's gonna miraculously save boxing. He is great for Danny Garcia, the Charlos, and whoever else he offered contracts to, right? And when actuality, he only came over here gross worth $1 million in liquid. Now he called Deontay Wilder the little boy from Alabama, but in March of 2018, he fought in New York against Luis Ortiz. You understand what I'm saying? And then at the end of the year, he fought Tyson Fury. You understand what I'm saying? And that deal was put together by Al Heyman. I mean, let's call a spade, man. The numbers don't lie. People are going to refute this and dispute this, but I'm on to reporting what they turned into their government. All right, allegedly. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, how come this man comes over on his great white horse, or his Nina, Pinto, or Santa Maria, whichever one was working at the time, and he can come over to America in his Gucci flip flops and this used car salesman dialect and convince you he is the next best thing coming? How and why? You know why? Because everyone wants to be a follower. Everyone wants to follow. Everyone wants to follow someone. You know what I mean? More importantly, it goes back to the conception of America. It goes back to the color scheme. It goes back to slavery. It goes back to the civil rights movement. It goes back to the KKK. If you come over here white, blue eyes, and spunky and giving off the impression that you're successful, people are going to believe you. You understand what I'm saying? And that's kind of like, I don't get it. You understand? Whereas you can have a man like, you could pick anybody, Adrian Broner. You understand? I know he's not a promoter and people, but Adrian Broner is a wealthy man, is a rich man. Hopefully he made great investments to make him wealthy. He's a rich man. People always want to attack him. Deontay Wilder, the little boy from Alabama, just bought a $500,000 Rolls Royce. Ooh, I can't wait for the day I can afford one of them. You know what I mean? And it's just a beautiful thing, man. And it's sad because y'all think that this man is more powerful and more successful than the people that were already here, the people you were already covering. You know, I mean, you should have saw how many people were just texting me and saying, "Oh man, Eddie Hearn paying for my trip to Chicago, man. He took us to that. They had this open bar at that Asian restaurant. I always draw a blank on that shit, but it's the hottest Asian restaurant in downtown Chicago now. You know what I mean? They have a club in Las Vegas. I forget the name of it, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And oh man, Eddie Hearn is doing this. He's amazing, man. He's cool. He's this, he's that. But when in actuality, maybe Leonard Ellaby is worth more than him. I don't know Leonard Ellaby's financials, but I'm making the assumption he's eating well off that Conor McGregor and Manny Pacquiao money. You understand what I'm saying? And it's amazing how the media turned on Leonard Ellaby because of Eddie Hearn's presence. It's amazing how media runs towards, I'm telling you, and will listen to everything Eddie Hearn has to say. Oh, we had 1.2 million streams. We had this, we had that. But I'm not saying that it's all true, but I'm saying like the energy and the forwardness. I see it in the interviews. When people interview Eddie Hearn, they'd be like, oh, googly gaga and trying to sell themselves at the same time and calling them sir. You're probably worth more than Eddie Hearn. And you say, why bring up money? Because he came over here throwing money. Go watch that IFL video. You know, I mean, it was basically slandering us. If you see it from that vernacular, Whereas you got a man like Steven Espinoza, who for the third time in less since August in 5 months has rescheduled Carissa Shields' fight in 3 different locations, man. How about that? Now, maybe the first one was in Atlantic City, I think, but back to the original location, but 3 times, you know, who's putting his money where his mouth is and investing in you. I'm not saying, well, I'm not going to go there, but I mean, in different cities, Tank Davis is a multimillionaire. He's, living his best life. Um, but I think that what Eddie Hearn is doing in America is a microcosm of the mindset of poor people. Poor people financially, poor people socially, poor people economically, poor people spiritually. Because he looks like money. Oh my God, he gotta be the one. You should have saw how many people were asking Eddie Hearn for. I seen it with my own eyes. People asking Eddie Hearn for jobs. Hey man, you think you give me a job with the Zone? Hey Eddie, you think I can work for Matchroom? Hey, I see you got all that. They're basically saying, hey Eddie, you got all that money. Can I have some? Instead of betting on themselves. And man, it's just beyond my own understanding. And when you look at the man financials, if they splitting $4 million 4 different ways, they made $1 million each. He ain't got no room for you. He got a family. He got mortgages to pay. He got car payments to pay. It's not what it's all cracked up to be. You know what I mean? You got, man, it's I know I'm going over a lot of people's heads because people are just gonna see this on the service and say, Fred, why are you counting this money? I'm not counting this money. If Eddie Hearn would have came over here with some humility, if Eddie Hearn would have came over here as a human being as opposed to an elitist, he would have had some traction. But now he's up against it. Now he got to be perfect. He has to have a damn near perfect 2020. Perfect. If not, that Russian billionaire is going to pull the cord on all their money. You understand what I'm saying? I forget the man's name, but that's the truth. He should have partnered up with an American network. He should have saw HBO was going out of business, man. He could have parlayed that HBO going out of business. I know I shouldn't have said that, but there's just so many different moves he could have made. He and Steven Espinoza could have worked out. Sean Porter and I don't know if that was on HBO, but Kell Brook. I don't know. So many different moves he could have made and didn't make because he wanted to be the only one at the top, at the peak of the mountain. I remember Oprah was on the my my beard is growing too much, so now when I talk, it's like going in my mouth now and shit. So, but uh, Goldie Hawn, Julie Hawn or Goldie Hawn, right? She said she wants to live forever. And she was taking like 20 pills a day. If y'all remember that episode, raise your hand. And she said that, oh man, I'm gonna live forever. And then Oprah asked her, she says, let's say you do. What satisfaction are you going to get when you go to the top of the mountain and say, I did it, and no one hears you? Yeah, you're the last one on earth. You did it. You're amazing. You get what I'm saying? And that was Eddie Hearn's goal. You know what I mean? So I man, I salute the people who stay 10 toes down. It is just disgusting, man. How many people were in search of jobs and shit and wanting to work for the Zone and begging and negotiating. And here's the catch. Here's the catch. Here's the real deal catch to this shit. Here's the real deal catch to this shit. There was a lot of YouTubers begging for jobs, right? A lot of YouTube, and that's the people I hang around on an everyday basis, right? They were literally begging for jobs and negotiating for jobs. You're probably gonna get fired, and then you're gonna have to bring your humble butt back over to, you know what I mean, and doing media work and grunt work and standing beside me with your camera and shit and You know what I mean? Thomas Hauser did an article today. Shout out to Tom. Actually, Thomas Hauser is got the same temperament I do, but he gets away with it because he's white. You know what I mean? He's a dog just like I've been reading him for years, just like me. He's a savage, man. He will eat you from the inside out. And especially when you get on his hit list, woo, Thomas Hauser goes, man. And he said they're in debt they've lost over $560 million in America thus far. I bet 230 of that is salaries and expenses, not even on the fighters. I'm willing to bet you. That's Eddie Hearn's private jet. I ain't lying. The perception of money. And don't get me wrong, PBC did the same thing coming out. Remember, everyone was flying private and they had that elaborate entrance like the WWE, and they were on 44 different networks. And then they said, you know what? Let's ream all this back in, because the most important thing people care about is what actually happens in the ring. You know what I mean? And that's the reality of it, man. But Eddie Hearn is a microcosm of America, the mindset of Americans. 70% of y'all are broke. And I say that because that's what the um, census say. You know what I mean? I should say 70% of, since I think I'm black in America sometimes, you know. But the census say 70% of us are broke. Um, you know, and we're living paycheck to paycheck and don't have $5,000 in our savings account. And the irony about it is you would have $5,000, $10,000 in your savings account if you didn't have this perception of what success looked like. You know what success looks like? Pick up your cell phone. Pick up your cell phone and look at the reflection right now. That's what success looks like. You know what I mean? You're a one of one. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, $1 million is nothing to be shabby about, but he shouldn't be walking on the streets of gold. You know what I mean? Steven Espinoza probably spends $1 million. He probably can throw $1 million from his high rise office. You know what I mean? Leonard Ellaby probably can throw $1 million. I say that figuratively, guys. You know, he probably can go blow $1 million on his next 45 suits that he's gonna purchase. You understand what I'm saying? His $50,000 sunglasses. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that at the end of the day, man, it's part of Eddie Hearn's success is how we've been brainwashed, how us poor people, economically, spiritually, financially, emotionally, have been brainwashed to have this ideology of what success look like. You understand what I'm saying? And it's tough. You understand what I'm saying? It's like I remember I told this story. I'm not going to tell the story because it's going to change the energy of the conversation. But the tenor of the conversation, that would be the more appropriate word. Uh, you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, join my Patreon, man. We're going to talk more about money. And yeah, man, barbershop conversations on Patreon. And the song goes live tonight. So feel free to send me $1.50 and you will have the song and you can sing along. The devil is a lie. You know what I mean? We're gonna have a few thousand people by the end of the year singing that song. The devil is a lie. I'm telling you the truth. Hey, Eddie Hearn's a lie. Perception. Perception sells. You know what I mean? It's like some people on Instagram. Perception sells. You know what I mean? But it's real. People call me arrogant, right? Have I ever did a video flashing money? First time ever. I just got it right. First time ever. I've never done a video flashing money. But I often talk about my successes, and people say I talk about myself too much. Eddie Hearn sends a black kid a contract and say, sign with me or you're a loser. That's not arrogance. I don't know what arrogance is if that's not arrogance. You know what I mean? That's elitism. You understand what I'm saying? But this video's gonna go over a lot of people's heads. And shout out to Deontay Wilder. I'm glad you made the right decisions, made great decisions, because Matchroom doesn't. Now let's say the zone dissolves, and there's a clause in the contract that says upon dissolve of the zone, you subsequently contract gets reenacted, or whatever the term you would use. Um, your Matchroom. Now, part two, he don't want to put on Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder fight. Deontay Wilder will be stuck making $1 million based off of these financials. For real. He can't make $20 million. Listen, they make $68 million. You guys see it in the thumbnail. Where's room for Deontay Wilder? And this is, and here's the catch. If Frank Smith was appointed in 2019, right? These financials were finalized after January 1st, 2019. I'm just being 100 with y'all. All right. So anyhow, man, I at the end of the day, in terms of money, I'm not saying the man is perfect. I'm not saying that, but y'all got to put some respect on Al Heyman's name as it relates to knowing how to find money. Like, for real, this motherfucker finds money out of nowhere, and he gives it. He has a Robin Hood project that I think he's doing, and whoever gets that interview with Al Heyman, you're gonna be it's gonna take you 18 days to get through it, but it's gonna be I'm very much interested to how he found this money. Two, how conservatively Bob Arum moves around. You know what I mean? He starves his fighters and keeps his money. He does it his way and he wins, man. You understand? Leonard Ellerby, man, he's not gonna get the respect he deserves, man. He's out in the streets grinding. You know what I mean? I don't know Lou DiBella too much. I'm not on the East Coast too often, only a couple times a year, so I don't spend a lot of time with him. But you know what I mean? It's just amazing, dog, how it's okay to show off other people's money. That's all Eddie Hearn is doing. I'm gonna do a video on that. All Eddie Hearn is doing is showing off a billionaire's money. He's the nigga at the table at the club that didn't pay for the table. The Russian billionaire paid for him to come over from America and promote the zone. Come over from the UK to America and promote the zone. He's the nigga in the passenger seat in the Bentley. He's the nigga that's carrying Floyd Mayweather's bags. I'm being 100 with y'all, man. Eddie Hearn ain't no motherfucking wealthy ass multi-billionaire, dog. He ain't. He ain't. Can't be. Can't be. If he were, it wouldn't be so much stress on that Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz fight. Barbershop conversations, man. Y'all not gonna get this video. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Shout out to everyone doing what they supposed to do, man. Shout out to man, shout out, man. Man, Deontay Wilder, I have no idea how big that decision was that he made not to sign with the zone. Jeez. Y'all don't see it. Y'all just thinking linear. Oh man, you talk about frustration. Ooh wee. Jesus Christ. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Now, watch in a few years, Al Heyman go do business with that billionaire that's fucking with the zone and want to build boxing. Watch what I say. Remember this video. Remember this video. If that man wants to get in boxing so bad and he sees this is happening, he gonna contact Al Heyman. You understand what I'm saying? And I got some great friends over at the zone. I got some really great friends over at the zone. This ain't geared towards them. This was about the media that I work with, and they were just bowing down to Eddie. Oh my God, Eddie. Oh, you know what I mean? It's just, I'll do anything you tell me to do, Eddie. Just give me a job. You know what I mean? Barbershop conversations, man. It was just despicable, man. Go back and watch those interviews. I just pick any YouTube channel And go back and watch those interviews from like June of 2018 up until the first Anthony Joshua Andy Ruiz fight. Go back and watch all those interviews and watch how much ass kicking people did. Barbershop Conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.